All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're all ready to have us join us on this webinar. Give me a second as I pull up my slide screen. We have at the moment about 37 people on this webinar session, and hopefully we'll have more people join us. All right. Well, again, let me adjust the screen a little bit. Perfect. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to many of you who've joined us from various parts of the world. Thank you for joining us in this session. My name is Gurudee.
I'm Tejaswini.
And we're a part of the team Unventured. We're an experiential travel company that focuses on curating local and authentic experiences across India, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka. A large part of our focus has always been on storytelling. And today, we're bringing to you Tamil Nadu. So we're gonna just quickly, I'm gonna take a stock of how many people we have on the attendee list, but we should be getting started now on this session. I'm gonna turn off video just to make it easier for us to be able to manage everything. And so there's no distractions. All right, great. Well, one of the things that got us interested to begin this journey we call Unventured was the love for the outdoors. Our open-mindedness to different cultures and religions. Most importantly, it's in curating a story, be it history or legends. There's always tradition to each town, city, ethnic community, or a country. It's these stories of places that also add so much meaning to the people, to the place, and to our journeys. We offer guided and self-guided tours to suit a wide audience, from adventurers looking for active getaways, bike tours, treks, and multi-sport adventures. People keen to explore cultures, families and friends of groups looking for reunions with a mix of interests from culture, history, experiences. Well, and we offer these as scheduled departures for groups of adults or children. And we also customize and curate experiences for families and small groups. Today, I and Tejaswini together will share this idea of being the virtual guides through Sikkim, through Tamil Nadu, a small and very interesting region in southern India. Before I begin, I'd like to let you know that this session will be for 60 minutes, divided into a presentation for the first 40 minutes, roughly, and the remainder time for Q&A. Now, I know that all of you hate sitting through boring slides of content, and I myself hate it too. So we've tried to make sure that we reduce some of the talk, but also make it very visual and appealing. And so we mixed up a compilation of videos from our travels through Tamil Nadu. I'll be presenting for the next 40 minutes with Tejaswini, and we'll save the last 15 minutes for Q&A. Now you can post questions in the Q&A section that you can see as an option at the bottom of your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Please note that information shared by us today will also be available as a short transcript on request. You can write to us at get@unventured.com. All right, I'm going to crack on now. Well, Tamil Nadu, the name in its literal meaning translates to the land of the Tamil-speaking people. Tamil Nadu is believed to be the cradle of unique ethno-linguistic groups of people that calls themselves the Dravidians. It's a land filled with legends, centuries of history, colonization, stories of early races, South Indians, and Tamil Nadu. South Indians in particular and especially Tamilians, hold on to this idea of being the original inhabitants of India. And they do so with pride. And the respect for the old culture's tradition rich history, their tasty food, and friendly and hardworking people is really something that makes this place very unique. Join us as we go on a quest to unravel this mystery of human origins in India, the legends, the gods and the kingdoms and the rulers that take great pride in this land of Tamil-speaking people. Just a quick overview. Tamil Nadu is a state in the southern part of India, flanking the Bay of Bengal to the east, with a long coastline. It has about a good part of about 6,000 years of history with 3 key dynasties that influenced this region. And that led the way of the idea called Dravidian. Now, let's talk a little more about this Dravida land. I'm going to use a video cue as I talk about this and go through many slides and perhaps some videos as well. The term Dravidian derives from the Sanskrit term Dravida, distinctly identifying the people of southern India from the states of Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. Anthropologists are divided on their theory of the origins of the Dravidians. To understand this better, we must go back in time to an early civilization in this region. Now, there are many schools of thoughts on the story of Indians and their origins. Popular theory is that civilization in this part of the world started about 8,000 years ago along the banks of the river Indus in North India. The Indus flows from the Himalayas into the northern Indian plains and travels through the Indian subcontinent region of Pakistan and eventually drains out into the Arabian Sea. The people in this civilization were agrarian by nature, lived off the land and worshipped Mother Earth for soil fertility and prayed to the nomad god, their protector of all animals, called the Pashupati, believed to be the early representation of the Hindu god Shiva. Popular belief is that the early race of these people were called Dravidians, and it's believed that they are the original inhabitants of the region. About 5,000 years ago, this region saw migration from another race, ancient group of people from Central Asia called the Aryans. The Aryans were nomadic, aggressive people with a very masculine culture. They came armed with advanced weapons and chariots. They overpowered the feminine natured Dravidians and settled down and mingled with the native people. The land to some of this Dravidian population to migrate. This led to the migration of some of the Dravidian people southwards and occupy southern India. Now, geographically speaking, this demarcation of South India was drawn across the Vindhya and the Satpura mountain ranges that form a natural barrier in reaching southern peninsular India. The Aryans, in their early language, Prakrit, called this the Dakina, the unknown country beyond these mountains. In more refined Sanskrit, it's called Dakshina, anglicized today as the Deccan. Another more recent scientific theory suggests that the Dravidians were a mixed race of old Eurasians and native people of the Indus Valley, and that Dravida is an ethno-linguistic group of languages that evolved in southern India. Now, whether Dravidian culture was widespread around India before Aryan culture appeared in the north in the 2nd millennium BC, or whether the Dravidians only reached the southern region because of the Aryan influence in the north, is a matter of debate. Despite the Dravidian long-standing southern location, elements in Dravidian culture share many similarities to cultures in the Indus Valley. A meditating god seated in a lotus position, similar to the god, seems to have lost my track on this video. Let's see, let's just quickly go back, retrace this, okay? All right. Where was I? Well, yeah, a meditating god seated in the lotus position, similar to the god of the Indus Valley, possibly the world's first depiction of the yogi archetype, detailed in the identified as the Hindu god Shiva, is one of South India's, you know, is one. South Indian languages all take root from the Dravidian language family, which is in turn related to the Indus language. Tamils consider themselves as standard bearers of Dravidian civilization, and they do so with considerable amount of pride in their culture, in their traditions, and rich history, making Tamil Nadu a cradle of culture to all of southern India. Well, what has this specifically got to do with Tamil Nadu? Perhaps the answers are in the legends of the Dravidian flow, their gods, their cultures, arts, architecture, and their languages. Let me invite Tejaswini, my co-presenter, to tell you a little more about the legends.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here, and let me try and get the video on. Right. Thank you, Guru. That was an interesting. As much as science has had its insight into how geography is turned around, the legends have always had a different story altogether. Now, to start with the legends, we cannot miss Agastya, a sage, a very well-known sage, who went on to cross the southern Indian Vindhyas. Legend has it that the first of the religious saints to embark on a journey south was the Rishi Agastya. It is believed that the holy sages traveled north to the Himalayas to listen to Shiva's discourse, causing the earth to tilt northwards. Seeing this, Shiva asked Agastya to go south and restore balance of the earth. It was believed that the spiritual weight of Agastya was equal to the weight of all the other sages. Agastya's journey to the south was monumental to the rise of art, culture, and heritage in southern India. The passage to the south was not easy. In his path stood the mighty Vindhya mountains, which had over the years grown in size so large that it covered the rays of the sun. The mountains were rising in competition to the tallest mountain, Meru, in the north. The Vindhyas prided in being taller than the Meru and demanded that the sun circumvent the Vindhyas before shining on land. Agastya called on the Vindhyas and tricked the mountain to remain bowed down till he returned back from his passage to the south. It is said that Agastya never returned, and the Vindhyas remained bowed down to this great Guru, and the sun, as a result, continues to shine on earth. On reaching the south, Agastya is believed to have contributed immensely in the form of literary works and starting the first conference of Sangam literature. His most notable work, being the Agastya Samhita, is a collection of texts on the story of creation, descriptions of religious practices, and prayers for tantric rituals. The ancient form of yoga is known to be propagated by Agastya, and he is considered the guru of the Siddha form of medicine. Alternative sciences like astrology, palmistry were also his contributions, notably the Nadi form of astrology. Nadi astrology is quite unique. It's an ancient manuscript written on palm leaves that hold the past, present, and future fortunes of all human beings. This knowledge is passed on from one generation to the next, and even today, you can visit a Nadi astrologer and learn of your past, future, and present predictions. Definitely an experience you must try in Tamil Nadu. Anywhere you go in the south, you will hear of Agastya's presence, and we are intrigued by this avid traveler who took to the adventurous journey south and added to his intellect along the way. We're going to move on to the three crowned rulers. Just a moment, please. I'm going to pause this. Yeah. So the three crowned rulers were actually the most prominent ones to have ruled over Tamil Nadu and its surrounding regions. Now, the Pandyas, Cheras, and the Cholas were not, their territories were not marked directly to Tamil Nadu, but it bordered over to parts of Kerala, Telangana, and Karnataka. Going on, between the 1600 BCE to 300 CE, South India was coined as Tamilakam, ruled by three dynasties called the Three Crown Rulers, the Cholas, the Pandyas, and the Cheras. It was during that period that Tamil art, literature, and architecture raised to world prominence. You could call it the raise of the tiger, the fish, and the bow, which represent the Pandya, Chola, and the Chera dynasties. Just a minute, we're having a bit of tech trouble. The land of the Chola dynasty was called Chola Mandalam in Tamil. The land of the Chola dynasty was called Chola Mandalam in Tamil, literally translated as the realm of the Cholas. One of the largest empires in Indian history that stretched till Southeast Asia, the Cholas used their immense wealth in building magnificent temples, palaces, and forts. Every aspect of their monuments displayed grandeur and engineering marvel. The Brihadeshwara temple in Thanjavur is one such example. The temple plan and development utilizes the axial and symmetrical geometry rules. The Chola era architects and artisans innovated and the expertise to scale up and build the 63.4-meter high towering Vimana over the inner sanctum in the temple. This is the tallest gopuram in the world. The Chola period would be noted for its emphasis on maritime trade and conquest. They excelled in shipbuilding. The imperial Chola navy came into existence during the reign of the Rajaraja Chola I, who used the navy to subdue the Sinhalese, one of the greatest naval victories ever in the southern Indian region. The Cholan period is known as the golden age of Tamil culture. It was one of the greatest literary eras in history, equivalent to the Elizabethan reign in England. It was also during this time that Tamil literature became the language of the people, where scripts in various languages were translated and adapted in Tamil language. Metal crafts reached its zenith during the 10th to 11th centuries, with exports of bronze sculptures to Rome and Southeast Asia. Most notable are the bronze sculptures of the dancing Shiva, the Nataraja, an expression of their devout following to Lord Shiva. Urayur, the former capital of the Chola kings, was a famous center for cotton textiles. The Chola rulers actively promoted weaving as an industry. During this period, the weavers started to organize themselves into guilds, and silk weaving attained a high degree. Kanchipuram became one of the main centers for silk weaving and trade in South India. A souvenir that is on every traveler's list is the Kanchipuram silk scarf or sari. The next of the empires in the south of the region was the dynasty of the Pandyas. The Pandyas excelled in both trade and literature. They controlled the pearl fisheries along the South Indian coast between Sri Lanka and India, which produced some of the finest pearls known to the ancient world. Pearls were exported to Egypt, Greece, and the Roman kingdoms. Tradition holds that the legendary Sangam, or the literary conglomerates, were held in Madurai under the Pandya patronage. For the first time in recorded history, poets were coronated as kings in the Pandya reign. King Kulasekara Pandya, who was not only an able administrator, but poet, was a supporter of arts. He went on to commission the famous Meenakshi temple in Madurai that dates back to the 1190 CE. The temple goddess is a principal deity unlike most Shiva temples and has a fascinating story. According to a legend, King Malayadwaja Pandya and his wife Kanchanamalai performed a penance seeking a son for succession. Instead, a 3-year-old daughter Meenakshi is born out of the fire. The girl had 3 breasts. Shiva intervened and said that the parents should treat her like a son. And when she meets her husband, she will lose the 3rd breast. The girl grows up, the king crowns her as his successor, and when she meets Shiva, his words come true. She takes the true form of Meenakshi, the goddess with eyes that are of a fish. Sociologists believe that this may reflect the matrilineal traditions of the Dravidians, the regional belief that the penultimate spiritual powers rest with the women. Gods listen to their spouse, and that the fate of kingdoms rest with the women. The reverence for Meenakshi is part of the Hindu goddess tradition that integrates with the Dravidian Hindu society, where the woman is the linchpin for the system of social relationships. Isn't that absolutely marvelous? The next of the king dynasties to have a strong influence in Tamil Nadu were the Cheras. The Chera territory was centered along the western Malabar coast and its hinterlands, which extended into modern-day Kerala. This region is hilly and densely forested. The famous Indian monsoon winds spurred trade and commerce by sea for the Chera Empire. Greeks and Romans are believed to have traveled to the land of the Seras for their spices. The Cheras were in continuous conflict with the neighboring Cholas and the Pandyas. The Cheras are said to have defeated the combined armies of the Pandyas and the Cholas and their ally states. Their contribution to art is noted during the Bhakti movement, a theistic devotional trend that emerged in medieval Hinduism. Kulasekara Alvar in the 9th century is one of the most influential mystic poets to contribute to the Vaishnavite forms of literature. Earlier, it was largely the Shaivite forms of literature, the Vaishnavite being followers of Vishnu and the Shaivites being followers of Shiva. The dynasties that ruled called this land Chola Mandalam. The Cholas, being one of the major rulers of this land, called this land Chola Mandalam. Now, what became of this land? How did it go from Chola Mandalam to Coromandel? I'm going to let Gurudeep take over and talk about the colonial era and complete your journey to Tamil Nadu through its culture, cuisine, and some must-do experiences.
Thanks, Tej. That was very interesting. I'll hope to be able to have more stories just like yours going forward. Well, let me have this poll just finish up. Okay. Right. Now, following the downfall of the three Tamil kingdoms, the period from 1300 until the 1600s saw a spate of fragmentation and religious wars fought through the region. Most notably, the dominance of the Delhi Sultanate under the Khiljis and the Tughlaqs, followed by the Hindu uprising and the dominance of the Vijayanagara Empire. The demise of the Vijayanagara Empire led to fragmentation in Tamil Nadu. And by the 1500s, the Europeans had arrived in the eastern shores of India. Tamil rulers had already established a well-recognized trade route by sea, reaching as far out as Southeast Asia and beyond to reach China. The Europeans' arrival for the spice trade and stayed to develop the already laid out trade routes in Southeast Asia. Most notable of the colonizers in Tamil Nadu are the Dutch, the British, the French, the Portuguese, and the Danish. By the late 1530s, the Coromandel coast, home to three Portuguese settlements at Nagapattinam and Mylapore. And by the 17th and the 18th century, the British, the French, and the Danish ports had also been set up along this coastline. The French, and so what also evolved through this region was the eastern coastline of India became a hub for a lot of trade that came in from China, Japan, into the Indonesia, and eventually traveled into India. Cotton being a very important part of it. And so, just like that, Cholamandalam became Coromandel. Well, not quite. Just like all of history, there are many interpretations. While it is believed that the Portuguese pronounced Cholamandalam as Coromandel, it's also said that the first Dutch ship stopped north of the Pulicat Lake in Karimannal for fresh drinking water. And on asking the name of the place, Karimannal, it was spelled or pronounced as Coromandel. Well, isn't that interesting that, there's always many sides to a coin and a story. Now, Tamil Nadu has been a land that has seen many transformations, conquests, acquisitions, colonization, and all of this has shaped this beautiful region and its people, both positively and negatively. But it's that Dravidian culture, traditions, and the arts that inspire this land and its people the most. Here's a video compilation of the beautiful cradle of culture. Well, that was a quick brief for you guys on Tamil Nadu, a quick insight. I know we're short on time and we don't spend so much on talking about specific destinations in Tamil Nadu or specific experiences, but I think we'll leave that for when you will join us on one of our tours. We offer a host of experiences and tours, and we believe that we have 6 unique experiences that we want to talk about on this session. We've combined a unique mix of cultural tours and bike tours across Tamil Nadu. And I'm going to call upon Tejaswini to talk a little more about each of these experiences or tours that we've curated for travelers.
Thank you, Guru. I'm sure you had a great time compiling that video as much as I had a great time compiling these itineraries for our travelers. Our team has poured into digging deep into every part of Tamil Nadu. So we make sure we bring you some of the most amazing experiences that just takes you into Tamil Nadu beyond what is given in the guidebooks. My favorite is to begin with the essential Tamil Nadu. It's a quick insight into Tamil Nadu where we go into Madurai. Madurai has one of the has an airport, so you can fly directly into Madurai. We get into Madurai, visit the beautiful Madurai Meenakshi temple, explore the food of Madurai. Tamil Nadu, you cannot speak of Tamil Nadu and its culture without speaking of its food. You explore Madurai on a food trail in the evening, and then you move on to my favorite destination, Chettinadu. Chettinadu is very popularly known for the Chettiar community, which Gurudeep will talk about later. But the Chettiar palaces are beautiful, grandiose, and magnificent. They were traders who went trading into lands like Burma and Southeast Asia and brought back some of the most curated things for their home. And they built these homes with love and care. Today, the Chettiars as a community no longer occupy these palaces, but what they do instead, they have been given out for accommodations. So if you want to feel like a Chettiar trader living in a royal palace, then take that trip to Chettinadu. Tanjavur is the next on our destination with the essential Tamil Nadu. Again, more temples, but a great mix of art and architecture there. The cultural tour of Tamil Nadu is, it's over about 13 days. That's a long tour, but when you want to experience everything to do with Tamil Nadu, you need those 15 days. It says 14, but I would say add another day and spend one day resting in the hilly regions of Kunur and Uti. We start this tour with Chennai, move on to the French colonial Pondicherry. They say that Pondicherry is not a place, but a state of mind. So you move on from Pondicherry to Tanjavur again, where you go and see the Tanjavur dolls. Have you, if you are from India or even are from outside of the country, you would know of these head bobbing dolls, the bobblehead dolls. So the first of these bobblehead dolls made in Tanjavur. A visit to a place to make your custom Tanjavur bobblehead doll would be a great addition to your souvenir list. From Tanjavur, you move on to Chettinadu again, because when you're talking culture and a deeper insight into culture, you can't miss more days in Chettinadu. We have 2 days in Chettinadu on this itinerary. What we're going to do the next day is actually quite fascinating, where we go on to see the Karaikuri tails. You see these beautiful checkered tails on this palace here. Right here in Karaikuri is where they make these Atangudi tails. Now, after a day spent exploring tile making and saris, meeting your weavers, you take the next train out to Madurai. And in Madurai we have the Meenakshi temple, and we have one of the most interesting stays for you in a lovely estate called the Rajakar estate. We move on from the flatland to the hills, that is Kunur. Don't miss a cheese making experience here. and then go further on to Coimbatore and back to your home destination. The Art and Architecture Trail, again, for the next 13 days, is going to be a visit to parts of Kanchipuram. Here on the Art and Architecture Trail, we've paid a lot of importance to temple architecture, which represent the different kingdoms, different forms of architecture, be it Mahabalipuram or the Ginji forts, or even the unique French architecture of Pondicherry. I'm going to let Guru take on to the culinary tour, which is his favorite.
Well, thanks to Rashmini. I think by far Southern Indian food has many influences and obviously similarities and dissimilarities depending on where you travel through in Southern India. But Tamil Nadu, hands down, stands out as a very interesting place that has many influences from different communities and spread over street food to, quaint home Iyengar and Iyer food, Brahminical food, to even, the meats and, and street food plays a very important role in all of this as well. Our culinary tour is a good combination of not just indulging on food, but also understanding cultures, understanding farming, understanding produce from various regions, including Tamil Nadu's very own version of a local toddy. So there's a lot of interesting stuff that we've curated as part of these culinary tours that we've curated for Tamil Nadu. A lot more on that, just reach out to us and we can talk more and we'll give you insights. We've also curated some bicycle tours, 2 unique trails. One of them exploring the plain flatlands, riding from Pondicherry southwards all the way to the southernmost part of Tamil Nadu. And then we have another that takes us into the mountains, the hilly regions of Tamil Nadu. Now, a quick time check says that we probably have about 15 minutes to go, and I think this is also a good time for us to go to some Q&A. So I'll wait for you guys to start posting your questions while I complete this section, speaking about some of our cycling tours. So all of our experiences always bring in, some sense of culture, local food, interesting insights, and definitely unique experiences that you would otherwise miss out on. And so that's where Unventured kind of specializes in storytelling and unique experiences. Now, before we leave, into questions and answers, I'm sure you guys are all looking for, hey, what are unique places to stay at? And so here is our list of unique places to stay at. We've had many guests stay with us through these properties and have definitely, rave reviews about each of these properties and places, not only just for the quality of the accommodation, but it's also to do with a certain sense of, connect with the people, the staff, the team that works there as well. All right. Then there's always the top 10 must-do, must-see of Tamil Nadu. Now, if ever you're traveling through Tamil Nadu, here is our top 10 list. The Brihadeshwara temple in Tanjavur is an engineering feat of its own kind. The largest temple tower of a living temple in the world. Definitely merits a visit, definitely during sundown. A brilliant experience to see the sun go down in the background as you see the temple in all its glory, and especially the stone and its color reflecting a hue that is like no other. Food. I think Madurai and parts of Chidambaram and Pondicherry definitely call for a very unique experience of food in these regions. A toy train ride, something that has been reminiscent of the British colonization in this part of the world, is definitely something recommended. Now, again, another colony is Pondicherry, and strolling through French quarters, learning of not just of the architecture, but also something called the Franco-Tamil food, and unique influences of French food, culture, traditions, even forms of education that continue to stay put with Pondicherry. And like Tejaswini said, I think Pondicherry
It's a state of mind.
is a state of mind. Just along abutting Pondicherry is a small little communion called Oroville, a beautiful space that really brings together this idea of a universal brotherhood. I've had a lot of friends from Oroville as well, and a very interesting place. Personally, traveled there quite a bit, and definitely recommend traveling to Oroville. Oroville is a communion of many people coming from various parts of the world. It started with bringing soil from many parts of the world and coming together and creating this commune where everybody supports and sustains a community. Well, cooking and learning to cook definitely is big on the list as well. And Chettinadu and the people of Chettinadu are revered for their food. And we've got some interesting experiences where you not only learn to cook Chettinadu meals, but you also understand the source of it and how these foods or flavors come together as part of the people of Chettinadu. Obviously, riding and active travel is a big thing on the adventure agenda as well. So a lot of bicycle tours that we organize also takes us up into the hills through tea plantations of Valparai, Kunur, and Uti as well. And these are amazing places to get out and stay in some of the plantation bungalows and experience solitude as you ride through some of those plantations with almost as little or no traffic at all. Now, the Meenakshi temple itself, surrounding this, surrounded by the Madurai town itself, is a very interesting space. Not just the temple complex, but even the surrounds of the temple complex. It's brewing with people, culture, old markets, a lot going on in every street. Definitely a photographer's delight if you're walking through these back alleys of the Meenakshi Amman temple. Sunrise and sunsets in Kanyakumari, both at the same place, is another interesting phenomenon, and one should definitely experience. We can't tell you less about the Chettinadu mansion and how it comes together. There's a lot of legend and history around this, including the community of traders who went on and traveled the seas through the Chola period and even further on in through the times of colonization, and made their riches and fortunes and built these palatial bungalows in the middle of nowhere. These mansions definitely stand at the top. Another very interesting experience is definitely the Nadi Jyotishya. It's an astrological, it's an astrological form of science, or at least the people believe it to be, where palm leaf scripts will tell you your past, present, and future. And there's a palm leaf for every individual in the world. A very interesting experience to just visit and understand how this came about. That's our top 10 must do, must see for Tamil Nadu. There's a lot more to Tamil Nadu than this top list. We're not believers of bucket lists, but really immersive travel. Talk to us and we'll probably pour out a few, maybe 20, 30 more top 10s, and we'll still not be done with Tamil Nadu. A quick overview about Unventured. Again, we're an experiential travel company that curates and delivers active adventures across India, Bhutan, and other international destinations. Our focus is on experiences, local history, storytelling, food, natural wealth of a region. We believe in adventure, which is a softer landing. So even our cultural tours have these adventures of getting off the beaten path, exploring these local markets, interacting with the locals, and making it very immersive and experiential. We're all about social and small groups. So we focus a lot more on keeping the group small and bringing cultures and transformations of ideas from one culture to another as you explore regions. We're also about safety and being responsible as we travel through regions. Take nothing but leave with a lot of memories. that's about that. I want to quickly jump into some Q&A from this session. Let me pop up some of our questions and see what people have to ask us. All right, let's see. All right. Let's see. I'm sorry, just some technical glitches in trying to be able to launch our Q&A. Jaswini, were you able to pull it up on your system perhaps? Right, okay. There's a question that says, where can I watch a Bharatanatyam performance? Well, there are a lot of places that one can get out and experience a Bharatanatyam performance. Definitely Chennai is a great place to get out and explore this. There is a center.
It's the...
Sorry, go ahead, please.
I'm going to take this up. There is a center called the Kalakshetra, where you can go and experience Bharatanatyam, and that is where you can go. Also, Chennai in general is very rich in culture. What a good thing to do would be to actually look up a performance site like Book My Show or Events High, where you can see what's going on. But otherwise, a good place to go and see an actual traditional Bharatanatyam dance would be at the Kalakshetra.
Obviously, we also curate some of these on request on some of our tours. All right, next question from Meka Rajan. How many kilometers is the whole cycle tour? Well, we have 2 different cycling tours of varying intensities. On an average, you're cycling about 60 to 70 kilometers, mostly on flat land. As you get into the hills, the distances reduce. Typically, you're looking to cycle between about 9 o'clock, maybe up until lunch or a little later after lunch until about 3 o'clock. Well, Current says, this has been a great presentation. Thanks both of you. I hope you do these for more regions in India. One question, would you guys be open to curating itineraries for individual experiences and based on preferences? Yes, certainly, Karan. One of the interesting things about how Unventured operates is talk to us. We're travelers, we love traveling, we love exploring places, and we love sharing this with people. So whether you're one person looking to go do this on a self-guided tour of your own, or you're a group of people that want to do this, or better still, join one of our tours, get to meet interesting people, and you will experience a lot of interesting things. Okay, so that's another one. I have an anonymous attendee. What is the must-try food you would recommend if one visits Tamil Nadu? And you're really tearing it apart for me. I can't pick one specific dish. I think I can go through a 9-course meal and there'll be something for each one of those courses in Tamil Nadu. If you're a non-vegetarian, definitely, Chettinadu food is an interesting one to consider. A lot of interesting dishes that you should look at. Obviously, Southern India and Chennai has the dosa, which is synonymous. But I think there's a lot of other interesting foods Tejaswini, you want to add some more?
Yeah, sure. My favorite drink in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, is the Jigar Tanda, which is a mix of all things lovely. My favorite being the condensed milk and lots of saffron. The next is actually a good chettinad chicken curry. Never miss a chettinad chicken curry when you're in Tamil Nadu, and especially in Chettinadu. And yes, so one must-try food, I would say Jigar Tanda in Madurai. I'm going to add another one to your one must-try. It has to be the Chettinadu chicken curry in Chettinad region. I'm going to go for the next one, which is what is the best time to plan a trip to Tamil Nadu? Tamil Nadu is a tropical region, so pretty warm, pretty warm. So I would say skip the monsoons because the monsoons tend to be a little heavy. Stay within the time of October to February. Even late September is a good time to go. So that would be a good time until about February. Post February, it gets very warm and the temperature goes up to about 40 degrees Celsius. Not the best time to explore by foot, bicycle, or even just going around, walking about the town, which is our favorite way of exploring a city. So yes, stick to late September to about early February.
And if you're heading towards the hills, summer is still a good time to be in places like Ooty and Valparai. It's actually, the best time to be there in those hills. Great. I have another question. Do you have any specific place for clients to experience the palm leaf reading? What are the fees, timings, and any off days? Well, good question. Tejaswini, you want to go?
Yeah. So having done this palm leaf reading myself long ago in Tamil Nadu, my favorite place is is a small little closer to the temple in Kumbakonam. That's where, so there are many who will actually do this palm leaf reading, and a quick Google search will also give you this. But in around the Kumbakonam temple area are many of these small homes that have the Nadi Shastra. So Jolly, why don't we actually write to you about this place? And for those of you listening, any place around the Kumbakonam temple area is a great place to go and get your Nadi leaf read. But I must say, it is it's not the most accurate, right? And like any kind of astrology, it's something that you either you go and it is an experience. Don't take every word of what they say. So yeah.
Sorry. In terms of fees, the prices can vary anywhere between about 1,000 rupees to going up to about 5,000 rupees. Depending on spaces. Timings, well, typically timings can vary around about 9 o'clock going on till late evening. It also depends on how much you're coughing up in terms of money, and they'll definitely be keen on, they're very enterprising people, so they'll always be accommodative. All right, I will take this last one. What would be the best season to visit? Well, okay, we took that one. Can this be done in every part of Tamil Nadu, or is it one particular place? Yes, Jolly. I'm guessing that this is in reference to the Nadia Jyotishya. There are specific towns and small villages around the Kumbhakarna. There's one specific town or hamlet which is also famous for this. A quick search on the internet will give you all the details, but you can always reach out to us and we'll be happy to email you details further on this. I think we'll call it this. For those of you whose questions we've missed, we'll come back to you and we'll talk on another session, or you can just write to us. Our email address is get@unventured.com. You can visit us at unventured.com. We hope you enjoyed this session. Look forward to having you on other sessions. And yes, we're going to do more of this across many regions. Coming soon will be one of our webinars that talks about travel post-COVID. Look out for this through our social media handles, or just go up to our website and put down your email address on our newsletter list, and you'll get a notification of our next webinar that talks about travel in a post-COVID world. what to do, what to look out for, what are stakeholders doing, what are properties doing, how to look for a property, where to travel, how should you travel safe, how can you be responsible and safe in not carrying COVID to another region as well. A lot of interesting things to talk about. We have a very interesting panel who's going to join us on that session. It's going to be a very interesting one. So keep in touch, guys. Thanks a lot for your time. It was a pleasure talking, hosting this session for you guys. Tejaswini, last few words.
Thank you. And we hope that we will see you in Tamil Nadu sometime and hopefully with us. And have a great weekend and wishing you all pleasant travels. Bye-bye.